What is up, guys? It is the Blue Bloods, and we are back with week zero was so great. We're back with another recap, and man, we had one of the, in my opinion, the best game of the weekend here. Huge upset in the Big Ten. Illinois getting the big win over Nebraska to open up week zero, man, 30-22 in Champaign. The crowd was electric, the game was electric, and uh, we had such an amazing game, man. I'm so glad football's back. And just when you thought things couldn't get any worse for Scott Frost in Nebraska, the Fighting Illini and Bret Bielema welcomed the Huskers to the 2021 season with another upset win. And this leads to Huskers to 0-1. Lots of questions around the program, while Illinois gets a huge boost in momentum and has a lot of people wondering what the potential could be for the Illini with a coach like Bielema, who was so successful in his first, I guess, tenure in the Big Ten when he was a coach at Wisconsin. And listen, as much as a lot of channels as people are starting out with Nebraska, I want to start out on the other side of the field with Illinois, and I want to start with someone who nobody believed in. When Arthur Sikowski stepped in for Brandon Peters, who went down with an unfortunate shoulder injury on like the second drive of the game, there were plenty of people who wrote off Illinois. And it was mostly because Satowski really underperformed at Rutgers. 8 touchdowns, 20 INTs, and he threw 18 INTs and only 4 touchdowns in his freshman year. He was the butt of every joke. But yesterday, Satowski was ready for his moment, and I think he should be praised above almost anyone because he really was a huge factor in the Illini winning this game, getting a back-to-back win over Nebraska for the first time since the early 20s. It was the first time they've won back-to-back games over Nebraska since 1923 and 24, man. That's so long. And when you look at Satowski when he came in, 80% completion percentage for 124 and 2 touchdowns. He led the Illini on multiple scoring drives and really was the key factor in this big win. He was efficient, he was effective, he was accurate, he made plays when needed to, and the moment was never too big for him. And this was really a redemption moment for Satowski, and I am so happy and I'm just like, I think this was one of the biggest storylines that no one's talking about. He had a 95.3 QBR, guys. But for me, when you give Sadowski credit, you have to give the offensive line credit as well. They did not allow many pressures on Satowski. They gave him a clean pocket on 15 of his attempts, which is almost all of them. And the offensive line did a great job run blocking, pass blocking. This offensive line was the secondary MVP of the game. But the fact that this kid came in when one, no one believed in him, and two, on short notice when no one thought he was going to play and put on a performance like this, I am just enamored with this storyline. And I hope Peters has a speedy recovery. But if Satowski can continue this type of play, I think Illinois can exceed people's expectations. I think they could get a few more wins than people are expecting, especially with how the run game played, how the defense was opportunistic, and especially what we saw on special teams. That punter, man, I'm blanking on his name right now, but that punter absolutely might have been the MVP of the game. And I was so impressed. He pinned Nebraska back time and time again, really helped them get on the board by pinning them back. Cam Taylor-Britt forgetting where he was on the field, taking a knee in the end zone. I was very impressed by Bret Bielema's opener. He had this team ready to play. He had this team expecting that they were going to win, and they pull off a huge, huge upset here. And I want to get into some, the differences in the game here. It's really came down to Nebraska making repeated dumb football mistakes, and how the Illini turned almost every single mistake Nebraska made into points. And it really became the difference in the end. You want to start with Cam Taylor-Britt losing track of where his body was on the field, went back into the end zone with the ball, kneeled down, tried to throw it forward even though his knee was down, and it led to a safety, gave the Illini a 2-0 lead. And then when you look at later in the game, Cam Taylor-Britt again gets a huge interception, but Caleb Tanner gets called for roughing the passer, which I thought was questionable, but going back and looking at the film, he did slam him. I still thought it was a 50-50 call. I don't love the call, but according to the rule, if you slam the quarterback, it is a call. And what the Illini did is that interception was on third down. So instead of having a punt and an interception, which would have put them in Illinois territory, the Illini take the ball down, tie the game at 9. Then you look at Adrian Martinez losing the ball, and the Illini scoop and score to the house to take a 16-9 lead into halftime. So right there, that's a 16-point swing in the Illini's direction on 3 costly mistakes by Nebraska. Mistakes cost the Cornhuskers this game. Illinois, like I was talking about, Satowski played smart, disciplined football, which is why they were the better team. And, I got over here and Nebraska's at an all-time low. Man, this program has so many questions. The recruiting's not there. The execution is not there. The energy's not there. And then when you look at what they did to come into the game, they lose Wandale Robinson, which was one of their biggest offensive weapons, and they couldn't establish the run game. The only person who could run the ball was Adrian Martinez, being able to scramble when the pocket collapsed. That was it. Illinois, on the flip side, was able to move the chains and control the line of scrimmage, which is really what helped them win this game. You look at Martinez rushing for over 111 yards, a touchdown, but the running backs combined for 54 yards on 19 carries. That's just not going to cut it in the Big Ten in these big conference games. Gabe Irvin and Marquise Stepp both had promising plays, but it seemed like Nebraska lost focus on the run game, and it really hurt the offense because Martinez is not that type of quarterback that can put the offense on his back and go out there and make a bunch of plays with his arm. He's going to need help. Nebraska abandoned the run too early. I thought Marquise Stepp was going to get more action. I thought Gabe Irvin was going to get more carries. And I understand that early in that second half, the game was starting to get out of hand and they had to kind of throw their way back in, even though Martinez really made the plays with his legs. I thought they needed to establish the run better. Well, in my opinion, I think moving forward, you're going to have to find a way to get Marquise Stepp more involved in the game. He had that one rushing touchdown. But you look at the flip side, Mike Epstein absolutely had an amazing game. He was especially big in the first half, rushed for over 75 yards and a touchdown. This was big because, Chase Brown was supposed to be the lead guy. He was limited. Bret Bielema mentioned that they knew he was going to be limited, didn't really know how much he was going to play. But this could be a great 1-2 punch, Epstein and Brown, and really give the Illini a great running back duo to really compete in some of these later conference games they have coming up on the schedule. And I thought the offensive line for Illinois really established the line of scrimmage in the run game. I thought Nebraska did some great things rushing the passer, which ended up costing the Illini Brandon Peters. But for me, I thought the run game is where Nebraska really struggled. They really had a tough time holding the line of scrimmage, giving up gap protection, things like that. I thought Nebraska could have done a whole lot better on that front. And for me, I thought being able to establish the run game later in the game really helped Arthur Satowski find his rhythm because I feel like Nebraska thought they were going to lean on the run, and the Satowski was able to make some very great throws, especially one down the sideline into tight coverage where he was putting on the dot. And for me, it looked like Illinois wanted this one more. They were more focused. They played better. They were more disciplined. They executed better. Everything went in the way of Illinois. And I really have to look at the coaching, man. You look at the rosters, and on paper, it's not like Illinois just had better athletes than Nebraska. It's never the case. For me, the real storyline of this weekend is Bret Bielema outcoached Scott Frost. And I don't think anyone's surprised about that. But if you're a Nebraska fan, you have to be. I know Scott Frost is going to get the ire of everybody in the country. And I don't want to sit here and just just roast Scott Frost. But, man, there were no adjustments. The game plan was questionable. And you just got run out of there by the end of the game. I know they had a chance to win late. But when you take the ball away from what was supposed to be possibly your strength in the run game and put it on Adrian Martinez to do it all through the air when your wide receiving core has already got question marks, I really just wonder what the actual game plan was going to need to be. And, you know, this Nebraska, the all-time low topic I got over here, what is next? With the NCAA investigation, which I don't think is as serious as we initially thought, maybe some suspensions, some fines, things like that. When you're looking at this Nebraska schedule, it's brutal. And you're wondering how many wins are realistic for Nebraska. When you look at this schedule, Oklahoma, Northwestern, Michigan, Minnesota, Michigan State, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Iowa, this was a game that I feel like Nebraska was counting on just to compete for maybe bowl eligibility. Now that you lost this game, I don't know where it comes. I think Oklahoma is going to outclass them. I think Northwestern is going to outclass them. Minnesota going to outclass them. Ohio State, Wisconsin, let's just mark those as L's. I think Iowa's better too. That's 6 losses right there, and you just lost this one for a 7th. So that's the best case scenario you possibly can go 5-7 right now. And I don't think Michigan State are easy wins for you. So now you're looking at what is really the win total that Scott Frost has to aim at for realistically to keep his job. Because right now, in my opinion, if he doesn't get bowl eligible this year, I think it's time to move on. You've given him all the leeway in the world. He hasn't done it. And the storyline that I think has to follow, and it's the same thing I've said about Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, is the fact that an offensive-minded head coach that was praised and hired because he could recruit and develop quarterbacks has yet to find a capable quarterback at a school like Nebraska. And this win, this is back-to-back times Illinois has outclassed Nebraska on the football field, which is a storyline I don't think a lot of people thought was coming. So for me, Nebraska is in serious trouble, and it might be an all-time low for this program. And I think Scott Frost, the clock is ticking. They have turned the timer over, and the sand is running out for you. If you don't get this turned around, you're going to have to try to find a win here or there. If you don't get to bowl eligibility, I don't see why Scott Frost is the head coach when Nebraska takes the field for the first week in 2022. And for goals for Bret Bielema, though, man, what a huge win coming in. I know the Illini fans were so excited to get a coach of his caliber. I know Arkansas didn't turn out well, but, man, he was coaching his what off up there in Wisconsin. He comes back to the Big Ten, gets a huge conference win. I know expectations were at a really, really low for Illinois, but if they could be on the verge of, if they can get to 5 wins in his first year, possibly 6, if he could sneak into bowl eligibility, you're talking about an A+ season for Bret Bielema. This was a key game, a key win for him to really get this team and this momentum on track. I want to shout out Bret Bielema. If he can get somewhere in between 5 to 6 wins this year, this program is going to be on an upswing, and I'm very excited to see what he does with this program, how he recruits, how he develops talent, and really and truly, I want to see if maybe he's just a guy that can go out there and compete in the Big Ten, and I am so excited for Illinois. That fan base was electric this weekend. Love the energy. I love that it was the first game of week 0, and I was absolutely pumped to see this win happen. I picked Nebraska, but Illinois went out there and earned it this weekend, and they were the better team on the field, and shout out to them for making all the right plays. So now Illinois moves on to take on the University of Texas at San Antonio, UTSA, next weekend, while Nebraska should have a rebound game against Fordham next week. So that should be a good opportunity to kind of see if Nebraska can get kind of that positive momentum back rolling in their direction. But guys, if you're new, subscribe, hit the post notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up, man. Helps us out, and I appreciate the support so much, man. We are trying to push out as much content as possible. We got more Week 0 recaps releasing this afternoon. We got Hawaii, UCLA, the MEAC SWAC Challenge, and previews for Week 1 start tomorrow. We are covering all the big games. I think we got like 15 previews coming out this week, so make sure to tune into that. But guys, for the Blue Bloods, for myself, we are out for right now.